It all began when local musician and singer Thomas West performed on the NPR program From the Top. Hosted by pianist Christopher Riley, the show features young classical musicians from across the country. After appearing on the show, Thomas began thinking about the many talented young musicians in Chattanooga who aren't offered an opportunity to develop their skills in school. Thomas West is a student at Macaulay. Like the other private grade schools in Chattanooga, Macaulay gives its students the opportunity to play, paint, sing, and dance when they begin 6th grade. For a year, they're exposed to the arts, and then, if they have an aptitude or a feel for one of the arts, the school encourages them and helps them develop their talent. Ralston Hartness and Thomas West are good friends. So when Thomas left Chattanooga to study at Tanglewood this summer, Ralston, who's also a student at Macaulay, took Thomas's vision and ran with it. Like Thomas, Ralston is a gifted musician. A guitar player, he's part of a quartet composed of the best guitar players at Macaulay. Here he is playing a classical piece, but he told me he also likes to play regular acoustic guitar and write his own songs.
This was actually Thomas West's idea. He was on From the Top, NPR's program last winter. He did an arts leadership orientation with them the day after their program. And at that orientation, they went to Dalewood Middle School and took their instruments and went and sung and played some music. And the kids just loved it. And then they met with the principal who was like, the kids love this. We just don't have the money to provide them with the resources to be able to do what you guys do.
The principal's lament about the dearth of resources in public schools in Chattanooga and Hamilton County was echoed a few weeks later by a teacher Ralston met at church.
I was talking with a woman that I know that goes to church with me that teaches at Hillcrest Elementary. And she's a music teacher full-time, that's what she does. But she just doesn't have resources to teach at her best ability. She had a $100 budget for the last year and used the budget very quickly. Went to the principal and said, is there any more money for this? I really need some. And he said no. And so she had to use her own money because she said that when you hand them an instrument and say, we're going to, write our own songs, say, we're going to play, they brighten up. They love it, and they're so into it. But when you don't, it's so much harder to get them engaged. And I think that's the biggest problem in the public schools right now is that the money for the resources, maybe they have resources and they're just broken instruments or not adequate art supplies. And I think that's the biggest trouble because a lot of schools have teachers.
At that point, Ralston decided he was going to try and do something about it. Along with two friends from Baylor, McKenna Quattro and Megan Daniel, he spent the summer before his senior year organizing a talent competition. On Tuesday, August 13th and Thursday, August 15th, they are holding open auditions for any musician playing any what they call traditional music, that is folk, jazz, classical, anything but contemporary rock or rap, he said. The musicians must be aged between 10 and 19. A 5-panel jury will choose the 12 best players, and they will be featured on a CD to be recorded in a local studio owned by Thorpe Mackenzie, who has donated the use of the studio and an engineer to help them get started.
It's really open to anyone. We have a website, letbeautyawaken.com, and there's an audition registration form there and kind of a release form that they have to sign and fill out to be able to audition. But after that, it's open to anybody that is going to play. We've listed out kind of a description of the music that we're going for, and as long as their music fits in that, and they're from 10 years old to 19 years old, they're welcome to audition.
Yeah, and the criteria, how do you judge them? Does what they perform have to be original? Or
It doesn't have to be original, although we're welcoming original music. We are asking that it's from the public domain because you get into all kinds of copyright gray area and money when it's not. But we've also said if it's original, you're welcome to play it. And so we'll be judging. We're actually in the process of coming up with a couple different categories for judges to score 1 to 5. That way there's scores, and then judges can make comments. That way afterwards it's easier for us to say, this is kind of a concrete on how this performer was.
How long are these auditions going to last?
Tuesday night is from 6:30 to 8:30, and Thursday at the Theater Center is from 4 to 6.
And each person's going to do one song.
Right.
So you could potentially get 50 people.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. And we're flexible. We can make it last a little bit longer if there's more people. We're kind of praying that we have to stretch it a little bit.
Yeah.
Just as, that there's more people that show up would be incredible.
You're praying that you're going to be blown away by some of these people, right?
Yeah.
And don't be surprised if you are.
Right.
Because some of the people I've seen in Chattanooga.
Oh yeah, we're excited just from people that I know at Macaulay that I'm friends with that are musicians. I'm excited about seeing them perform, and then there's people that I've talked with. Say Christy Burns from the folk school, for example, who recommended a kid and said, he will blow you away. And so I'm excited to kind of see and meet all.
They hope to have the CD completed, ready for sale by November. The CD release will be celebrated with a concert featuring the young musicians on the CD, along with the WTM Blues Band and Fletcher Bright and the Dismembered Tennesseans in the Chattanooga Theater Center on November 21st. Along with the music at the concert, McKenna and Megan hope to stage a display of visual art by young painters and sculptors from the area.
Initially, it was just music, and it was focused on bringing instruments and music resources. And then we started talking to Thomas, and his vision was incredible, and his passion just kind of blew us away.
Yeah.
And we just thought it would be a lot more effective if we could do a visual art side of it. So we've been working recently on the art side of it, and hopefully at the benefit concert we'll have an art show out in the lobby with the same age, 10 to 19. We're trying to get a lot of pieces so we can sift through and kind of pick the best ones. But hopefully we'll have an art show for those kids.
So who's going to curate that?
We're working with our art teachers at Baylor right now to come up with a panel of judges, hopefully. But
So this will be a curated exhibition too. This isn't just anybody's work. You are going to
We're
make it competitive
hoping-
like the music thing?
Exactly. We're hoping to get enough where we can make it that way. But, we don't know how many submissions we're going to get. But, yeah, we're trying to come up with judges, just hoping that we get enough pieces to have to judge them.
our main focus right now is getting a large influx of pieces to come in that we can get a good quality in the work that we display. But
Actually finding the artists has been the main issue.
and our deadline is later than the music deadline because they have to produce and record. But we're still in the works of kind of coming up with the vision for the art show. But hopefully it'll be a really good place to introduce the art side of what we're doing.
Yeah, I can see that. So you don't have a deadline on submissions at the
It's
moment?
September 20th.
September 20th?
Yeah.
How much time have you put into this already?
It's taken a lot of time.
Yeah.
That's kind of a scary
A solid
thought,
chunk of
actually.
time. It's just been a growing experience.
For me, it's been really encouraging to see adults excited about the arts and really behind us on a lot of things.
We didn't know if we were going to be taken seriously at first. When we were talking to Thomas, the very first time, because we were like, wow, he's actually doing this. We've always talked about wanting to do something like this, but we always kind of blew it off, nobody's going to listen to us. We're 15 or 16. I guess we just kind of realized that people are going to take us seriously if we know what we're talking about and, we have a plan.
And they do have a plan, a very ambitious plan, where they foresee a sustainable program to rebuild the arts and music in public schools throughout the area. They, of course, realize they can't do it alone. In fact, they probably won't be doing it at all themselves. They are headed off to university this time next year. But in the meantime, they intend to lay the groundwork for this long-term, ambitious project. All the details are on their website, letbeautyawaken.com. For WUTC's Around and About, I'm Richard Winham.